The hut was quiet when Buchi came back later that evening. He removed the cloth from the pot and looked inside, his wide eyes reflecting the faint glow of Mirima's scales. "Are you okay?" he whispered. "I'm all right," Mirima replied, though the small spade felt suffocating. "But I need to get back to the river soon. Your world is not meant for me." Buchi nodded, his eyes nervously darting toward the door. "I will help you, but we have to be careful. If anyone finds out about you, they might think you are dangerous." The word dangerous hurt, but Mirima placed her hands on the smooth wall of the pot. "I will never harm anyone." "I believe you," he said softly, "but my mother and the others, they have been told stories about river spirits. They believe your kind takes people away and they never come back." "That's not true," Mirima said. "We don't hurt humans, we only protect river." Before Buchi could reply, a small voice called from outside the room. "Buchi, what are you doing?" Buchi jumped and quickly covered the pot. A young girl, around 7 years old, with curiosity. "You are hiding something," she said with a suspicious tone. "Chinwe, get out of here," Buchi whispered sharply, moving to block her view. "Go back to the bed." Chinwe crossed her arms, her eyes narrowing with suspicion. "Not until you show me what's in there." "It's just water for the plants," he said quickly. "You don't even grow plants," Chinwe replied sharply, narrowing her eyes. "I do now," Buchi snapped, giving her a sharp glare. Chinwe's curiosity was obvious, but with a big dramatic sign, she finally walked away. Buchi sighed in relief and turned back to Mirima, gently pulling the cloth off again. "She asks too many questions," he muttered. "I will need to keep her away from here." "Who is she?" Mirima asked. "My little sister," Bushi said. "She doesn't know how to mind her own business." Mirima gave a small smile. "She seems kind. Maybe she will understand if you tell her." "No," Bushi said firmly. "It's too risky. I'll get you back to the river before she figures it out." Despite Bushi's best efforts, Chinwe was determined to find out his secret. The next morning, while he helped their mother outside, Chinwe quietly sneaked back into the room. Her tiny hands gently lifted the cloth off the pot, and her eyes grew wide when she saw Mirima. "Jesus!" she exclaimed, her voice so loud. Mirima stayed still, her eyes popped open, fear written all over her face. "Please don't tell anyone," she whispered. Chinwe leaned closer, her expression filled with wonder. "Are you a mermaid?" "Yes," Mirima admitted, her voice gentle. "Your brother is helping me to get back home." Before Chinwe could say more, their mother appeared at the doorway. "What is it, Chinwe?" "I heard you scream," she queried. I hit my leg on the bed," pointing to her foot. Chinwe nervously responded, hiding the pot with her small body. Buchi quickly rushed in, his face showing both frustration and concern. "Chinwe," he barked, rushing into the room. "Have you finished what I asked you to do?" their mother asked, turning to Buchi. "Yes, ma," he quickly responded. He stood close to Chinwe, hiding the pot with his small body. His mother noticed his suspicious act. "What's in that pot, Buchi?" his mom asked, leaning closer. "Just water," Buchi stammers. The mother narrowed her eyes. "You better not be up to anything strange. Stay with your sister. Let me finish what I am doing," she said and walked out of the room. "I told you to stay away," Buchi said, pointing at Chinwe. "I didn't tell anyone," Chinwe said quickly. Buchi sighed and hastily covered the pot again. "You have to keep this a secret, Chinwe. Do you understand?" He turned back to Mirima and pulled the cloth away again. "We'll leave tonight. It will be safer after dark." That evening, as the village settled into the silence of the night, Buchi prepared for the journey. He filled a small jar with fresh water and carefully transferred Mirima into it. "This should keep you safe," he said, securing the lid. "Thank you," she whispered. Chinwe appeared beside him, holding a small bag of bread. "I want to go with you," she said. "No, you are not," Buchi said sharply. It's too dangerous. Chinwe crossed her arms, staring angrily at her brother. I won't tell Mama. Buchi sighed heavily, knowing he couldn't argue with her stubbornness. Fine, but you have to listen to everything I said. The three of them slipped out of the hut under the cover of darkness. The narrow path to the river was overgrown, and the air was heavy with the scent of damp earth. Buchi held the jar close to his chest, looking over his shoulder with each step. Chinwe, undeterred by the shadows and halting silence, walked confidently beside him. How far is it? She asked. Not too far, Buchi replied, his voice low. Stay quiet. On their way to the river, Buchi and Chinwe met an old man with a stern expression, standing in the shadows of the path. And where are you two going? The old man asked in a gruff voice. Don't you know children are not allowed on this path that leads to the river? Buchi muttered, struggling to come up with an answer. Now get back to wherever you are coming from, the old man yelled, his voice echoing through the night. Buchi and Chinwe turned and ran as fast as their legs could carry them. They hid behind a large tree until the old man walked past, muttering to himself. Once he was out of sight, they continued their journey cautiously. The sound of the river grew louder as they approached, a sense of relief briefly filling Mirima's heart as the water came into view. But her relief didn't last long. As soon as they got there, shadows shifted along the riverbank. The guardians were already everywhere searching for Mirima. Their faces were serious. Buchi opened the bottle and poured the contents into the river. Mirima hurried forward and hugged all the soldiers, who were so happy to see her again. The leader, taller and more powerful than the others, stepped forward, his intense gaze fixed on Buchi and Chinwe. Humans, the leader of the Mermaid Guardian marched forward and stretched out his sword, pointing it at Chinwe and Buchi. Where did you take her, you two? He asked. No, they took me nowhere. They helped me instead, Mirima replied. Buchi, holding the jar tightly, we mean no harm. We brought Mirima to her home. But the guardians brought out a bottle of concoction and poured it on Buchi. Chinwe dodged it and then ran back a little. Buchi melted into the river slowly. Mirima felt so bad and cried and cried. The melted substance was collected in a small drum and rolled away. He is innocent, she managed to say amidst tears, but no one uttered a word or cared to listen. When she got to the palace, her family was so happy to see her again, but she was looking so sad and unhappy. Mirima, we were so worried. What happened to you, and why are you looking so sad? Aren't you happy to be home? Her mother, Ezenwani, asked. Mirima sighed. Mother, I am, but the boy that was captured by the commander was the one who saved my life. He meant no harm. What really happened, my dear? Ezenwani asked. Mirima explained. I swam to the other neighborhood and could no longer find my way home. Then a human was fetching water by the river, and I fell into the bowl she was bailing water with. She unknowingly threw me into her pot. This boy that was arrested caught me, put me in water, and then fed me until he brought me home. What if something bad had happened to you? He needs to be dealt with. Ezenwai roared in anger. Nothing must happen to him, please, Mirima begged. She swam to the guardian leader's house. The drum was still before him, with other guardians around. He opened the drum slowly, and the contents poured out. After a few seconds, it transformed into a human. It was Buchi. Mirima ran to him. Buchi, she called. He raised his head and looked at her. You betrayed us, he managed to say. Get back, Mirima, the leader ordered. She saw her mother coming from far away. Mother, please save this boy. Let him go back to his people, Mirima begged. He needs to be dealt with, I said again while swimming forth. Mirima left and then rushed home. After a few minutes, she returned with a bottle of potion. She made sure that everyone was looking at her. She opened the bottle and then pointed it at her father. You have a few seconds to set this boy free, or I'm going to empty the contents of this bottle into my stomach, she threatened. Mirima, please don't, her mother begged. Mother, step back, Mirima yelled. Okay, okay. Guardian, set the boy free and let him go, her mother instructed. No, no, just let him go. I want him handsomely rewarded, Mirima said. Okay, you name whatever it is you want for him, and it shall be done, her mother said. I want him adorned with gold and precious stones. Okay, done, her father said. She went back home and returned with all Mirima had mentioned and handed it over to Buchi. She also ordered the leader and a few guardians to accompany Buchi to the riverside where his people would find him. Mirima volunteered to go with them. They dropped him by the river. His mother and other villagers were already there wailing. But as soon as they saw him get out of the water, they attempted to run away, but paused for a moment. Is that you, Buchi? His mother, who already looked exhausted, queried. It's me, mother, he replied. Then his mother ran to him and hugged him. Chinwe and another girl ran forward. Chinwe, look, Mirima made them give us all these things, Buchi said, pointing at him. Buchi, with this, you can fulfill your wish of becoming an engineer. It will also protect your village and bring prosperity as long as you respect the balance of nature, Mirima said, and the mermaids and she left for home. The river started giving the people of Ofemiri many blessings. The farms became lush and green, with crops growing taller and yams larger than ever. Wells that had run dry overflowed with fresh, clean water. Prosperity returned to the village, bringing joy, laughter, and hope. The people of the village decided to honor and protect the river. Fishing became a rare and sacred event, held only once every 4 years. This transformed into a grand Ofala festival where villagers wore colorful clothes, sang, danced, and celebrated their bond with the river. The bond between the river and the villagers became unbreakable. The river's blessings changed Buchi and Chinwen's family with good harvest and clean water. Their mother was able to send both of them to school. Buchi became a celebrated engineer, building bridges that connected villages, while Chinwe became a beloved teacher, sharing the stories of Idemiri and Mirima with children, teaching them to protect the river and respect nature. Many years later, a mermaid returned to Mirima and told her that a human was by the river screaming her name. She hurried after the mermaid, and they arrived at the spot in no time. She saw the human standing there, so tall, handsome, and looking fresh. Buchi, Mirima exclaimed, "You guessed right, it's me, Buchi. So good to see you again," he said, beaming with smiles. "You look so good. Where and how have you been?" Mirima asked. "Well, Mirima, the river blessed us bountifully, and we made fortunes from them. My mother enrolled me and my sister into the university, and I'm now an engineer in Abuja. I arrived in the village a few days ago to help some youths. Thank you so much for changing my life," Buchi said. "It's a pleasure, Buchi. I'm glad to hear you are doing well," Mirima replied. The end. Happy Christmas and prosperous New Year. Please subscribe to this channel. We have an amazing stories coming your way. See you again.